later, but at the time when they were doing the smoking, they're off. So once again, I just started other channels. So let me uh, say a word about what we're doing. We are reviewing World Happiness Report of 2024 based on the data from 2020 to 2022. Okay, they were talking about general things that there should have been too, like social bonds and freedoms and etc. Uh, India ended up way down and 126 or something like that. Very poor, last but five or something. So obviously they did not agree with that. In India, the term of happiness is inward, subjective, right? So I think that's right too, because we all feel the happiness within. We may be satisfied with money, with other things, and all that. But when it comes to real being happy, contented, peaceful, and really not wanting anything else but what we have in life, right? That kind of thing was there in the ancient India, and somehow the people do continue that. And the people who know about this kind of knowledge, culture, everything that existed way back, the remnant of it is still there, but only very small percentage really take that and then apply that in their lives, right? Even the spirituality petered down to more like a transactional religiosity, that's the prevalent thing, right? But otherwise, many people go hungry, many people don't have make ends meet. So many division, so much violence, so much of corruption and all that. Okay, but I am more focused on the ancient wisdom that is applicable to any human life anywhere, without getting into any particular religion. If you really pay attention to the wisdom, I don't think Indians are doing it either. But just because they are not doing doesn't mean that wisdom is not pristine, wisdom is not original, and all that. Anyway, I'm beneficiary of that. That much I know. I'm kind of peaceful and contented even with whatever I get, whatever I do. I don't have many problems with that kind of thing. But what they are talking about in the World Happiness Report is the current condition of the masses, current condition of the general atmosphere of the countries. They had Israel at number 5. That surprised many. But then this data was done before all this uh, compiled, right? This data. So all these recent events happened, 23, 24 things happened, right? So maybe before that, Israel was peaceful and many people are contented and they have a very social, very strong social bond, and freedoms were threatened, especially with Netanyahu coming in, wanting to change the judicial system to suit him, to suit his authoritarian impulses. And then many are leaning more to the right and all that. But that's all political thing. But they were talking about underlying cultural thrust of what it is. So it was number 5. And then another surprise was they took what are the 10 most happy countries in Asia? Okay. And then China made it top 10. That was also very big surprise too. But it depends upon according to your political and all. But what they were looking was beyond the politics, beyond the superficial things of money and technology and all that. What they were looking is underlying trends of wellness, well-being of all. That way, I really agree with the thirst of where the report was going. Maybe some controversial things were there. So that's why I thought I should review this because it kind of identified some areas of my own uh, inclination towards philosophy, right? So let me tell you what that those are. Number one is uh, this. orientation towards external things and achievements and whatever we are planning, they are not indication of how a person is healthy or happy or well adjusted. That much we know. But then how much we contribute to that by really pursuing? It's like this. John next door has you know climbed the ladder of success, and he's standing on the top, and by going over the people who are on the bottom. But the bottom people also again want to imitate that behavior, put on the people who are below me and go up, but not like having that camaraderie and that equanimity and all that. That's why it's continuously people are chasing those people who have exploited the most and accumulated the most, and that's why the rich and the poor are the gap, the divide is widening. I've seen that since 80s. When Reagan came on, they kind of, some people were afraid of that. There will be more gap between the rich and the um, poor. But upon analysis after Reagan era, what they anticipated the gap was much more in reality. It happened. And then it could took a catapulted it as we went into the decade after decade, right? So much of tax cuts, much of investment into technology, and then not investment in the happiness measures that this particular report was talking about. Okay, and based on that, they kind of gave um, you know the rankings. Okay, so in that way, I agree with that. It's not like being communist or being anything like that. It's more like how humane we are. See, what I discovered is the ancient wisdom is you don't have to have anything outward. Actually, you should be having a simpler life outwardly so that you can realize these major qualities within you that they come out, the humane qualities of empathy, sympathy, friendship, equanimity, and oneness, interconnectedness, all those really make us feel happy. Look at a dinner. A friend comes and we have a hearty dinner and laughed and chatted, and we're just happy to be with each other. What did you need for that? You didn't need much money for that. You needed a heart for that. And the heart of other person brings out your heart, and then your heart is warmed and happy. And it is for that evening, you are contented and you are happy. The same thing, why are we not able to apply to your working place, to your culture as a whole, to your country as a whole, to the world as a whole? That's the question we have to deal with, I think. It is not like preaching anything. It's a actual matter of fact. When you can really not an individual, but more of a part of something greater, you feel much better, I think. This individualism that is promoted in the West is like a fallacy. Nobody is indivisible. Everybody is divided in so many ways, right? But together we are all one. That oneness is that is what the philosophy I kind of always talk about. It's called Advaita philosophy in ancient India. Um, it might have arisen anywhere, but now that I am really settled down in USA, not now since 1981, I kind of embrace that oneness, not for the philosophy, but the real practicality is that is so. So, World Happiness Report of 2024 kind of leans more towards that. It's not looking at a particular country, it is looking at the whole together. At least maybe I'm biased to that, maybe I'm reading like that, but I thought the underlying factors are with my approach of modern medicine and also informatics and the ancient wisdom of looking inside and getting better from inside out. All those things really matter for me as I leave an imprint of whatever service I will provide in the rest of the years. So in that way, having I haven't read it so detailed yet, but the cursory looking and reviewing the reviews of other people, it has come to this broad strokes of the World Happiness Report of 2024. Okay, so we have artificial intelligence in Chat GPT now, and we could get more details, more intricacies of the report, asking proper prompts to the Chat GPT, and it will analyze a lot of things for us and get the report really synthesized for us, right? So we will do that too. That way, we can use the vast power of this large language model to look at things, but you don't have to um, give different prompts other than what are the facts. Then it will give you the facts only. I intend to do that. I will review the report more carefully, and not for anybody, just for my sake, or to understand the world, to understand particular cultures, to understand what's going on between the genders. Between one thing they pointed out was 15 to 24 age group, they are much less happy, and actually they're depressed and they're isolated and they're anxious too, compared to older people, older generation. Maybe they don't take it that serious. They are kind of resigned to whatever it is going on, and they may not have some years to look forward to. It could be a number of these reasons, but this is a fact that younger people are not there. And now here I was bringing up Vivek, the Surgeon General of the United States. He was recently talking about social media really doing a lot of harm to the people, the children especially, and the parents are not to be blamed, because social media should take the responsibility of uh, putting all this nonsense on them. He compared to, suppose you have a car and you have a situation where you don't have a seat belt, and you can have speed limits, you don't have any pollution limits, nothing, and car is allowed to be driven. Actually, in the early 80s, that is the situation, right? People didn't wear seat belts, and speed limit also, many people are going over it, and there are so many accidents because of that. And the pollution, they just started to implement in California, and then it came to Midwest later, where they used to put a thing in the tailpipe, and then all the exhausted gases analyzed for any pollutants, and then they passed it, or they gave you, okay, this car is okay, it can be driven, something like that, right? So I'm kind of uh, I agree with him, because the social media, what they are doing is like they don't have any controls. They expect the parents to control, but it's very difficult for the parents, because a lot of this technology is not used to the parents, and they don't even know what is going on with the kids' phone and other devices. They can't even operate those technologies. So I can understand when I first got into it how difficult it was. So it's a fact. So Vivek, the Surgeon General, what he was saying, it made a lot of sense to me. And also, other thing was this: he's championing this national loneliness, and that's because people are really basing everything based on only one faculty, that is thought. Unfortunately, even the entire world now, United States, India, everybody is going based on thought only. So the thought will make you negative. It will go deeper and deeper, and aggravated by this data. Then you will never be free of that. Okay. Whereas, as I explained to you several times, how your own thought. forms a network of that. But then you prize your mind, you prize your thought, and you say you think everything has to go through that, and that is the problem, right? Lot of mental illness is because of this. You rely on the thought faculty for outward is okay, but inward, if you employ thought, and that is what the basis of psychiatry and psychology and all that too, based on one person's thought, okay, and and also settling down like thought is the primary. This is the only way we operate. You are paying the price for it through mental illness, okay. Whereas if you say, okay, thoughts are happening to me, it's a good powerful force that I have, and I will use it for external guidance, external direction. Or that's what is meant to be. But when it comes to looking at my interior, inner feelings, inner even thoughts, I need a different instrument. And that was the intuition, which is feeling awareness. This was explored way back in the ancient, and they were really benefited because of that. They were able to not let the thought go run and build all sorts of external things that you may not need, but the life was simple outwardly, so that they have the time and energy to turn inward and discover their own happiness within. I am convinced the happiness is within. Happiness is not outward. So I was looking very carefully at the World Happiness Report. Um, they were measuring some things, but they did not make a big deal out of the economic products or technological advances and all that. They took them into consideration, but then not to the extent where based only on that you are happy. Can people say United States is more happier because of all the wealth? But look at the debt they created. Look at the things going on. So much of unrest, so much of people running, burning out, stressing out. I have seen the very highly successful doctors are not really peaceful, quiet, and contented. They're more like a um, really still want to do something, still not able to achieve so much of money and fame and all that. They're very much distant from the inner happiness. That's a fact. It's not like saying anything negative about them. That's a fact. If everybody searches their own inner self, and they will say that to you, saying, "Oh yeah, this is true. This is how we are doing so much outside, but when it comes to our inner being, we are very unhappy." That's why they, in the report also, they mention that United States is not a happy place to stay, and that's why they placed it to all the way to 23 now. You may muscle somebody, you may get some things, you may say, "Oh, you need all these things to live," but then they won't tell you you may not need it after a while. you know so as long as you are productive, as long as you're producing things, it seems like so-called important, so-called thing. But then the moment you are disabled, the moment you are uh, take for example football players, when they are in their prime, they are sacrificing their bodies and minds and playing that, or they make it a temporary shine in the limelight. But once they are injured, once they are out of the game, what they were going through, few people know. So I followed those stories, the football players who were injured, who were not really having a normal life, and the misery, the suffering that they are going through. Uh, Hips are placed, joints are replaced, and backs are not good, and then they suffered, and they did a lot of it. They may have put up with it, but the fact is they suffered. But a lot more people suffered. We know the dementia that happened to them, and most of them were even denied compensation for that, and they withered away. That was a very pitiable sight to see. That is a reflection of everything else. It's not just the football, boxing, you take it, or drug addiction. So many things that we see, right? So, Saleh, um, really following the report, going into the details, we'll have much more information. I invite you all, go and find out and read you, and then if you want, we can meet again and we can discuss what are the intricacies, what are the things that appeal to you, uh, what are the things that were taken out of the report and that we could implement and make a better lives for ourselves. I wonder if anybody really read the report and want to come and talk about it. You are welcome to come and talk to me and tell me your perspective. I think there are some friends here. Let's see. Lois, Marcy Ann, Michael, Mark Thurston. Lois, I wonder whether you have read that report. If you are, then come and tell me about it. She's a friend of mine, so I can ask her. Other people also are friends, but then it's up to them to come. What they pointed out, kind of, the thrust is really good, more towards the inner, more towards wellness, more towards full well-being, and then the happiness will be uh, properly reflected. And I agree with that. But they did not judge based only on the domestic economic product. That's a good thing. We need those economic basics, but why do you need things to make you happy? As long as you are having things to survive, eat, and all that, then the simpler you make the life, the easier for you to really go inward and find out yourself, that kind of thing. And then you will end up with that joyous, abundant self. That's where people are lacking. Many uh, may view it like it's a prestige to be listed. That's what I think some countries responded. And then some people were arguing about why that country got this ranking. I think that's all immaterial. I think we should read the report with the perspective of what were the major things that they pointed out for the entire society, not just one country or other country, entire society, the entire world, the tendencies, why young people are getting much more miserable compared to older people, what was going on there. So that is something I can relate to. 15 to 24, um, that age group, suicidal rate is very high. It is getting worse. Okay, and it coincided with social media rise with the smartphones. Exactly when they are introduced, from then it's 2010 or 2014, something like that. And then they did study up to 2014, and I said this before too. 189% increase in teenage girls suicide. That really happened. So that's a number, that's a fact. People are getting much worse with the social media, and social media themselves, they're not taking public interest responsibility and then reining themselves in. You see, they are promoting content that is encouraging violence and sexual exposition, which is hard for the kids, and which is really tough for them in the long run. So that is definitely pointed out by Vivek in that interview. Amanpuri, I think I saw interviewed on her show, and by the way, they were talking about in that the this report, and also they were talking about UK, England, being a much more miserable place. No surprise. So we have seen that in so many ways there. So mostly West is considered to be more unhappy in that report, whereas the Eastern European countries, they are more happier places. That's how they branded the report there. So we will meet again. We will discuss this a little bit more and the details and analyze them and come to some action plan about each individual person. We don't have to dictate anybody. Maybe point out and agree and do some practical things. I haven't. I'm going to write my own newsletter on this for my doctor friends and other in the on the LinkedIn, and I'll publish it there. Okay. And then what I agree, what I don't agree, what the direction should be taking, why some countries are doing what is that they are doing that is neglecting major issues of the current stage, like a planet, how we can produce less wastage, less pollutants and all that. They are also important too. They pointed all that out. It's the major trends that I agree with what they pointed out, but I don't think you can measure happiness with some data. Okay, it's a subjective thing, and each person can discover the happiness within themselves. That is my point of view. You don't have to agree with it, but I'm just saying that. Okay, Western lifestyle has made, okay, if you get this thing, you will be happy. That is such a leading people in the wrong way. You need them for some, like you need electricity in the house to work, to study, and all that. But doesn't mean just because electricity is there and you will be happy because you are happy within. You get used to that facility and you continue to use it. But if it's not there, you will be inconvenienced, not that you are unhappy because of that. So it's a question of understanding the definition of. There's a vast difference between pleasurable activities, comfortable activities, and real happiness within, where you are satisfied, you're contented, you are always having this joyous feeling of living, and you don't need anything else just to have that joy. Okay. All right, I will stop my blabber now, and I will see you again next time, and we will talk about it. And I'm going to go deeper into the details, and I will talk a few minutes of the report every day for a few days. But I will talk other things too. My morning thing, proactive wellness, that we covered 10 days so far. Today I was talking about head to toe yoga for 5 to 10 minutes, which is a very practical thing to do for busy professionals. This was actually designed by me, and some of the asanas are common, the same thing, but then I put it into a exercise routine like, so that people can have something practical they can have. This is something is comes under functional fitness, where you don't have to carry any weights or any gym or any yoga studio, anything like that. You can do it anywhere. You can do it standing, you can do it in the bed, you can do it on the floor lying down, you can do it sitting down in the chair. So any of them. And then if you do them systematically from toes to the head, um, with coordinating with your breathing and with your awareness. Okay, those are the two A's I use: awareness and alignment. Alignment with the breath and the brain. That means you are being in the present when you are doing, and you are coordinating the breath and the movements, right? And you study yourself. How am I responding to these exercises? So what I did was I gave a Zoom link today, in the link tree link tree on this platform, and people could join me to see it, or they could just hear me on the audio. Just additional convenience I provided. And some people joined, and then some people saw me doing that, and then they also were able to do that. But the essential thing was we started with the toes, lifting on the toes and getting down. You take the deep breath as you lift it, as you go down. Like that, you do 8 repetitions at the toes, at the ankle, at the knees. Knee exercise are different. Like you do a sit-ups, right? And then pelvic rotations, and then movements for chest muscles and back muscles, and then shoulders, elbows, raise like that, and then come back to the neck and do the neck movements, and then on the face some pressure points and all that. So you kind of march from toes all the way to the scalp, right? That's a head to toe yoga where all those joints, all those muscles and tendons and ligaments, they are kind of loosened, which is very good for you. Okay, if you do this in the morning, it will take maybe 5 minutes, but you can also do this in your work center wherever you can take a go to a lone place, go to a rest area or whatever, and then do that so that you can revamp yourself by eliminating the tension thus far you accumulated in the office or workplace. That's why I kind of provide this as a service for people to see and adopt it in their daily routine. So you got to deep breathe, you got to be in the present, and you got to do all those measures correctly. Then you will get the benefit. And also, you can study yourself as you are doing it. This is called swa-adhyaya, self-study of how the body is responding to the exercise you gave it to the body, right? Then body will tell you, hey, this is too much for me, or this is too little for me, or I'm having a lot of pain, a lot of discomfort, or I cannot stand still, I have dizziness. Any number of things will come out, right? Then you can modify or you can increase accordingly, and then thereby you teach yourself the feedback also, what's going on with you. And that's a valuable thing to iteratively improve on a daily basis. So that's why I did that. And this is because you can do without spending any money, with your own body, with your own time, and just understanding it and do it very easily. Then that will add to your wellness. See what is in there is a deeper aspects of this, but in yoga, for example, Patanjali Yoga Sutras is about mind, right? Yoga is about mind. But you have to make the body ready for that. So that's why he recommended this posture should be comfortable and stable. Sthira Sukham Asana. Sthira means stable, Sukham means comfortable, asana means posture. The posture should be like that, right? And then you'll be able to do concentrating the thoughts and meditating on one thought, and then getting absorbed beyond the thought. And that is the one which is most beneficial in yoga. Even if you do few seconds in the morning, few seconds in the that pristine quality of immersion, complete immersion, that's very important. But the people who are real yoga experts, real people who have realized their true nature, that's the self-realized beings, they can stay there for hours and for hours and hours. And it all depends on how spiritually mature they are, right? You can aim for that if you want, it's up to you. But the simple benefits of focus, attention, and concentration, this physical exercise are a preliminary requirement to make the body not to accumulate what we call tamas. That is, when you feel lazy, when you feel slow, when you feel like not feeling like doing, that is the energy that's called tamas. Okay, we don't want that, right? When you accumulate that, you immediately do away with it, then you'll be much better off. So don't be lazy. That's the absence of laziness is a quality that you should have in the morning. You will develop that. And through the day, as you accumulate some tension, some inactivity by sitting in the chair for a long time, you will develop this bad energy, which is called tamas, for a long time. You are not to use that kind of energy when you are active. But when you're resting, when you're sleeping, of course, that energy comes up and then you can succumb to it. Okay. But not when you're supposed to be active during the day. Right. So that kind of thing really helps a lot for people to understand. This routine I showed you, or I didn't show you here, but I talked about, which I did this morning. I um, I'm going to do something like that uh, with in the future also, so that I can demonstrate a good breathing exercise or energy boosters. Three or four breathing things I do are energy boosters. You can do them anywhere, right? And then your energy will be boosted immediately if you do. You understand what it is and give the attention that it needs. Don't do that casually and then drink beer. It won't work. You got to focus on what you are doing, then it will work. So I may demonstrate those energy boosters, and I may also give you tricks about how to use your thought efficiently or consciously, and how to be thoughtless state of awareness all the time. That is a very, very good blessing. Okay. It can be done, but then combining all these for the information age, for the information overload, how can we revisit these spiritual hacks? That is the subject I'm going to do on April 20th, 21st. That retreat already planned, and everything is ready for that. And we'll be doing that with some movies, some webinars, some question and answer sessions, and some actual physical exercise of yoga and this meditation, pranayama. All those are in those 2 days. So I hope people will take advantage of that. And that is not looking old and going there. No, understanding what they did, learning, like anything, any scientific thing that we learn, we understand it and we bring it into our lifestyle. For example, you are supposed to eat before 8 o'clock. There is a meaning for that, right? There is a diurnal cycle. You want to be in that diurnal cycle. You want to be loyal to that, and that way your body functions better. That's all. Okay, and then you eat when you are really hungry, and you metabolize properly, and you protect your wellness in the long run. We have lifestyles. Majority of the patients, majority of people I see, they can be improved and their health can be improved. As simple as that. If you quit smoking, for example, everybody knows that. But then many people get this pressure to smoke because that's a style or something, the peer pressure. Many people don't want to quit it because they're already slaves to the habit, right? Or they're in a position where they don't have the psychological reserve to do that. Okay, any number of people are trying to help them, right? That's fine. But what about you yourself being conscious about this kind of? That is what I'm promoting. Be proactive about the ways of life in your lifestyle that is good for your wellness. Proactive lifestyles, wellness. That's important. That's what I'm doing in the series. I will continue to do. I wrote down 2024 topics that I could do. So I'm going to do maybe another 2 weeks on this series, and hopefully you can get used to that. So morning 7 o'clock to 7:30. I'm doing it on the Noom vibe. Okay, if people are interested, they can come there. I think I'm spending more time there these days because the focus has shifted from just any talk to really make people live well, make people be well, which is my thing from the beginning. So I was very enthusiastically participating there and then trying to give my 2 cents to whoever listens to me. Okay, so that's all for today. I think I spoke a lot of time. Okay, I'll see you back again tomorrow. And meanwhile, I'm enjoying the IPL, the cricket tournament in India. Cricket. was my game from the beginning. So thank you very much, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.